Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about Lavar Ball's JBA League and why this is probably the best thing to ever happen for these young athletes. Alright guys, so as we get started, I just want to talk about this JBA League and kind of lay down some facts about what it's all about and what Lavar Ball was actually talking about when creating this. So he was planning on doing it in the summer of 2018 in around some of the sites such as New York, Dallas, LA, Atlanta as their serving sites. And he's planning around 8 teams with 10 players each. And with these 10 players, one of them is going to be LaMelo Ball because he will be participating in this league. But of these 80 players on all these teams, they're going to be making as much as $10,000 a month for this league. And this brings together huge things. These are these nationally ranked high school seniors who want to pursue pro but don't want to go maybe that regular avenue of going overseas or going to college for 1 year. So this presents them with such a unique opportunity. And I think that although it may not gain traction right away, I think it actually is going to be one of the best things to happen to the NCAA. Now, I'll get into a little bit of that later, but I think that people are going to start gravitating towards this. I think it's going to take is a couple more big name players in that top 50 of these top seniors to kind of take a second glance at this and be like, like this is where I want to go. I don't want to spend all my time um, on books, or not all my time, but some of my time on books. While I could be making more money by doing what I love and doing what I'm better at in basketball and try and pursue the NBA. So there it's really helping them because they can actually focus on what they want to focus on. Now, as you think about some of these overseas, people that have actually gone overseas and came over for the NBA draft and have actually done very well, placed in the top 10 actually. Within the past like 10 years or so, you had Emmanuel Mudiay, who actually was planning on going to SMU, but he decided last minute to go to China, and he actually collected that $1.2 million check, which he loved, and he said he actually grew his game probably a lot more than what he would have done in college because he was battling some of these bigger guys and learned a different style of play. He said he learned that more of a physical play, and he was able to highlight some of his strengths in that aspect overseas. Next was Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings was drafted 10th overall when he went to the NBA draft. Before that, he was in a league in Italy in which he said some of the same things. He thought that great experience was something that he's surprised more people don't go back and do. And it brings to question why more people aren't doing it. Is it just because they don't want to go overseas, or is it just because they're scared to go out of the normal way of college athletes? He's actually known for going back to China and going back to Italy to actually play, and he's been doing that this past couple years, going back and forth between the NBA and I think China. Next, you have Thon Maker, who's a little bit of a different story. He was drafted 10th by the Bucks, but before that, he actually he actually did something very unique in that he was he decided to pursue a postgraduate student at a prep school, which actually made him eligible. Kind of found a little bit of a loophole, so he was able to pursue the NBA draft right around when he was 19 years old. People started comparing him to that Kevin Durant right away when he came out. Obviously, that was a pretty crazy thing to say at the time, but still drafted 10th overall. It didn't seem to hurt his stock. Might have actually improved it because people really look at some of these foreign players a little bit more, and since they have so little tape of them sometimes of what they can do, they kind of just take a risk on them if they do want to draft them. Now, this puts so much pressure on the NCAA. Like before, what I said, how these kids aren't forced to go to school. Some of these kids don't want to go to school. Like all they want to do is eat, sleep, breathe basketball. And if you're forcing them to do something that they don't want to do, they might perform a little worse or with a little less energy. Versus if they're in a league with 80 other superstars or 80 other big name players. They're going to want to show their worth and in the best way possible. So they're going to work maybe even 10 times harder than what they would have done in college. Um, Next, you got to think about what are they going to even learn in 1 year anyway? Are they really going to know all this financial stuff? Like with these one and done players, are they really going to know everything they need to find out about the real world in 1 year? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my first year of college, it did not go. I did not know everything about anything, in that first year because most people have to take those core classes. And finally, it's going to put pressure on the NCAA just to actually maintain some of these big name athletes. And they're going to have to figure out more unique ways and maybe actually think about actually paying some of these kids to in the future. And if they don't figure out a new way to probably entice these players to stay in college and come for maybe their one and done years, then Lavar Ball's league might be the best opportunity for them. Now, all of this really relies on if people actually trust LeVar Ball and if people are willing to step out of the normal way of college and go straight to that, TV show phenomenon, that LeVar Ball has, and just believe everything he says. But this is such a unique thing because he does have those TV shows. He does have the media. People, even though they might hate him, they're still gonna listen to him. And I don't know about you guys, but everybody I think is going to be watching these games if they do broadcast them on TV, which they probably are, with no hesitation, or somebody's gonna broadcast them. And you think about a new league trying to gain traction. You think of these past couple years, or this past year, you had the Big Three basketball league, if you guys are familiar with that, with Ice Cube. And with this league, you were able to see some of your old players play 3-on-3 basketball, and that was such a unique thing by Ice Cube that most people kind of didn't really think of. They just all thought, oh, players retire and then they're done. But now you're seeing these 50-year-old guys still showing that they have something left in the tank. It really serves that niche of people who really want to see these players play again. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe, and make sure you guys are watching your NBA games tonight.